Okay, summer is around the corner, 20 days away.
Oh my gosh.
If you have children at home with you, you already know it's equal parts wonderful and completely unhinged.
We brought in some backup, don't worry. Dr. Rachel Goldman is a licensed psychologist and a clinical assistant professor at NYU Grossman School of Medicine. She's here to give us parents what they actually need this season, some perspective.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Rachel, for being here.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Ooh, it comes in fast and furious.
It does, and it's kind of dysregulating for parents to see this happen and their kids to come. It's supposed to like, oh, come on in, and then it's like, oh gosh.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, they call it Maycember, right? Which we just finished because there's so many things going on right now.
Yep.
And I think the first thing we can do is kind of have more realistic expectations. Right?
This is the big picture.
Yes, exactly. It can be very fun, and routines get thrown out the window,
Right.
and that's where really the stress can really begin and feeling like things are really chaotic.
Right. I know so many, most of them are moms who I saw one in the grocery. Don't even talk to me. I have this teacher parent. I have this. I have field day. I have this. Did you sign up for camp? This.
Yeah.
Whew,
I know.
It's stressful, but I think a lot of it is self-inflicted because you think it's summer. We want it to be perfect. I want to snap the picture on whatever Lake Como.
Oh
or
my God!
whatever.
Can you imagine?
Oh, I can because
let's
my kids' friends go. Everyone's going to Greece this summer.
It's George Clooney.
How do we shake it?
Yeah. So I think, again, first we need to lower our expectations, right? And also reframe the way we're thinking about summer, right? It can be fun, and it doesn't have to be overly booked and planned and structured so much, right? So really thinking about connection over perfection, right? How can we connect with our children, which we can do maybe in the backyard or at the playground or even in your home. You know, you don't have to have a laundry list of places to go and things to do.
Yeah.
But it is good to have structure as kind of an anchor, right?
Exactly, right. So having some kind of structure is really important. It actually helps regulate our emotions and our children's emotions. Predictability, knowing what's going to come next, helps with all of that. So some anchors can be things like just having a consistent bedtime and wake up time, right? Like I always like to go back to the basics, like the sleep times, the eating times. Those are great anchors to build around, right? Maybe you have like a chunk of time in the morning after breakfast until lunch, like maybe a little bit of plan there, right? But the whole day doesn't have to be super planned and rigid.
Right.
It's kind of like having infants in a way, because remember it was chunks of time. It was like this much time till they nap, and then but you could kind of modify it for older kids as well.
Right, and we can just break it down that way, right? At least if you know certain things, it gives the kids familiarity. It gives them what to predict, what do we anticipate, and that right away decreases stress and overwhelming feelings. But not just for the kids, for
the parents.
Absolutely.
It's our summer too.
Yes.
Forget that. But I think there's something to be said about if you have the structure down, then you have time.
Right.
Then the play.
Yes, you just fill in the blanks.
Right. Exactly.
Absolutely. Yes.
I remember this as a child myself, but also hearing from my children and my nieces and nephews, I'm bored.
Oh my gosh.
And I used to say, great, and just stare at fantastic, so happy you're bored. Me too.
Yeah.
Am I crazy?
No, not at all. I do the same thing. The other day, my son said I was bored, you know, that he was. And yes, so actually I think a really important reframe is that boredom is not an emergency. We don't need to jump in. We don't need to solve the world, right? We don't need to solve the problem necessarily. That boredom actually creates space for kids to be more creative, more independent, you know, more growth happens in that time. And again, I think we can just kind of label it differently. Are they really bored?
Right.
Or are they just sitting and they're not used to that quiet, right? I think there's a big difference between that. I think when there's not noise, when there's no screens, when there's, you know, nothing really planned, they jump to I'm bored. But it's like, let's get a book, let's sit down and play, let's do this, or figure it out, right? Let the children figure it out, be a little creative, and if we watch them, they do figure it out, right? 100%. We don't need to jump right in, give them that space.
Right. I remember saying it constantly. Yeah.
I'm bored.
The advice is always for kids, but you kind of target the parents.
Yeah.
I think that's very smart.
Yeah.
It's so important because if we're not regulated and we're not having a fun time, say, how can we expect our children to do that, right? So I always say we need to also be taking care of ourselves. We need to regulate our own emotions first. Oftentimes that means pausing and not reacting, right? Things can be stressful and chaotic, but like, let's put a label on it and then figure out what to do about it next. And then give ourselves permission to not be imperfect, right? The summer doesn't have to be perfect. We're not perfect. good enough is truly good enough,
Yeah.
and just enjoy the summer, right?
Right.
Take a little stress off, less planning, and just have fun.
Yeah. I know there are some viewers, and myself included, who work during the summer.
I do too.
And yeah, I mean, we all work during the summer. And the end of school is like, oh gosh, like
stressful.
I totally depend on those 8 hours of school because I'm working 8 hours.
Right.
So what do you say to parents like that who are like, I mean, and in some cases, these kids are getting their meals
Yes.
at school.
Yes.
It can be challenging.
So what do you say? What do you say
Yeah.
to our families who are watching, who are dealing with that sort of
Yeah,
thing?
so it can be quite challenging, and I think we have to lean on the supports that we have, right? If that's other family members or friend groups or maybe local recreation camps, things like that, or other camps as well, because it really can be, your life can be turned upside down if you're not used to that, right? So kind of figuring out what works best for you.
Yeah.
What works best for you may not be what's best for everybody else. And then again, taking that pressure off, right? Say to your children, communicate, obviously depending on their age,
Sure.
but like, mommy has to go to work right now. Here's a book, or take the paint
Right.
out, or do something, or set up that play date. Again, lean in those supports, and again, acknowledge that it doesn't have to be perfect.
Right.
Everybody's looking at what their summers looked like in the past, or what everybody
Right,
else's
yes.
summers look like. Your summer can be wonderful without the travel and without all those expensive camps and everything
right.
else also.
Dr. Rachel, thank you so much.
love it.
Of course,
That's
thank
great advice.
you.
Awesome. Appreciate
Truly.
it.
Thank you.
We're going to put all of it.
Yeah, all there.
All of Dr. Rachel's tips on pix11.com. You can also check out her book, When Life Happens, at whenlifehappensbook.com.
Go check it out.
I love it. Always great seeing you. Thank